Hey, what's up, everyone? This is the Dot Dattie Podcast, and today I am joined with Thomas Bermudez from Taylor Perry, Orlando. What's up, Tommy?
What's up, my brother? How's it going? Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, fantastic. Love the glasses, by the way. I really do.
Thank you, brother. Cartier. I had the sun on them real quick.
Hey, you're in Florida. You gotta live it up, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I get a lot of natural light in the new studio, so I find myself wearing glasses indoors a little bit more than usual.
Nice. And that's great for pictures. Natural lighting is great for pictures.
Definitely. That's why we got the spot.
All right. So you were able, to my knowledge, you started off as Orlando SMP, and now you're
Correct.
Taylor Perry Studios Orlando, which is a
Correct.
huge, big, I think it's a big deal for not only your brand and Taylor Perry's brand. I want to know how that all went down, but first let's lead up to the chain of events that got to this situation you're in right now.
For sure.
Where'd you grow up, Tom?
I grew up in South Florida. I grew up in Hollywood. And funny enough, me and Taylor kind of grew up together in the same area. So that's where it really all started. But yeah, South Florida. I was born in Colombia, though. I was born in South America. I'm Colombian, 100%. Came here when I was super young, and been in South Florida ever since. And recently, about like 9 years ago, I made the move to Orlando.
Okay. So you grew up in, so do you speak Spanish?
Fluently, actually, it's my first language. I actually can speak it a little bit better than English.
I
It's
mean,
crazy.
I don't even hear, Colombians have a pretty thick accent. I don't even hear
No,
the
they
accent
do.
on you.
Thank you, bro. Yeah,
So,
I work
uh,
on it every day.
good, good. Now, what was it like coming over from Colombia? How old were you? Do you remember it?
I was only two. I mean,
Okay.
in total, I've lived like about 8 years out there because
Okay.
we would go back quite frequently and for months at a time. My parents really wanted us to, keep our culture and keep our Colombian identity. So, they did a good job of that when we were younger. And yeah, man, it was incredible.
And was it, so I guess you ended up learning English and Spanish at the same time since you
Yeah.
were two, and then you ended up living there for about 8 years total,
hmm
going back and forth. So did you actually have to go to school in Colombia as well?
I did some school. Every time I would go out there, we would go in the summertime, so they would have summertime as well. But there was little courses and little tutoring that we took just to familiarize ourselves fully and immerse ourselves in the culture and their education system and everything. It's a little bit more advanced than it is here. So it set us up for success for sure.
Nice. And so, if you don't mind me asking, what was your reason for coming over? Did you have relatives? Like, why did you guys choose Florida? A lot of people, it's because their aunt or uncle or something like that.
So my dad, he's actually, he's 100% Colombian. He was born in Colombia, but he lived in Connecticut for most of his life. And he's from Queens, New York as well. He grew up, up north, and um, he moved back to Colombia. But then when he started a family, he definitely wanted to give us a better opportunity here. And he already had some family that moved to Florida, started businesses, and that's how that all came about. That's why we ended up over here.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Every time I see, so up here, I'm about 40 minutes from the Philadelphia airport. I'm in Delaware. And every time we see something, they call it the bizarre file. It's always some crazy shit happening in Florida. Do you see it?
Do I personally see it? Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Of course, I see it every day. Florida's wild, man, but I'm used to it. Like you know,
that's
you
all you
just see
know,
crazy
right?
stuff, and it's all we know. There's nothing else. It's been to me, it's been the biggest blessing of my life to have been able to live out here. I've traveled the world, and there's really nothing like Miami or Orlando or Hollywood, Florida. There's nothing like it.
It's definitely different than the rest of the United States, just weather-wise in general.
Yeah,
I lived about a year down in Florida, but I was up north when I was in the Navy by Jacksonville in Mayport, Florida, if you know where that is, near
yeah, that's
Amelia
right by
Island.
Georgia. Yeah.
Yep. So Tom, do you have any kids? You married?
I got two. Yeah, I got a family. I got two kids. we live here in Orlando, Florida. I actually moved here to raise my kids. South Florida is a little bit too crazy, and there's not that much to do for the kids. Here, I got the theme parks and better school systems, more affordable living back at the time where we definitely needed it. And now this is one of the fastest growing cities in America. So it's put us in an amazing position in terms of home life, in terms of business and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, how far are you from Disney World? Like just a rough estimate.
I live in a suburb right outside of the airport. So I'm connected to all the major highways. I'm only 20 minutes away from anything in Orlando.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So I imagine if you bought your house, I don't know, a couple years ago, it's went up.
Oh, the equity is insane. Yeah. It's crazy.
I love it.
Yeah.
How old are your kids?
10 and 6. They just turned 10 and 6 back in December. Same week too. Just crazy.
Nice. And how long you been with your wife?
It's been all together, 13 years. Married, we've been about like 6-7 years.
Congrats. That's very similar to me. That's very similar to me. About 13
Thanks.
years. And I think we've been married about 7 years. Good for you. I know shit gets hard too. Especially
It
raising
does.
kids at China and running a business. The dynamic it can be very difficult, very stressful, as you
Yeah.
know. Do you bring your kids to the studio?
Yeah, they clean this place up all the time. I use them to their fullest advantage. I had kids to fetch me my controller, my phone upstairs, and to clean up when they got of age, and they're of age. They're starting to learn how to cook too. So that's coming up
Nice.
soon. Yeah, I use my kids at their fullest capacity. Trust me.
That's hilarious because I just the other day I was telling my wife my son just turned 3. I'm like, I love that I could tell him to go get my phone or go get me something now. And
That's
most of
what
the time he does
it's
it the
the
right way.
best. It's the best. Yeah.
And he likes doing it. He's like a game. He's like, all right, I'm going.
Yeah. No, I make games for them. I'm like, oh, who can get it the fastest? You know what I mean? And
I'm timing
the
you.
best. Yeah, I'm timing you. Yeah.
So what kind of work did you do before SMP?
I'm a salesman, man. I'm a salesman. I'm very, very strong sales and corporate background. So I've always been an entrepreneur, right? I've had business. I had my first business at the age of 19, 20. I owned a kiosk at the mall. The outlets out here, they're very, especially back then, they used to be one of the biggest things in the world in terms of commerce. The Orlando outlets, and I was able to have and partner up and have 2 kiosks at the mall. And it was all commission based, nothing per hour, no salaries, nothing. So that really taught me a very effective, and I wouldn't say aggressive, but a very just a very effective way of selling things, right? Building rapport fast, getting the item into the person's hand, and then collecting payment information in less than 30 minutes, basically. So from there, I was brought into time sharing, because time sharing is also, headquartered here in Orlando. And I climbed up the corporate ladder with them. I was I started off as a junior sales associate, and I worked my way up to having an entire district under me, teaching people how to sell, the point of sale systems and everything. And then got kind of burnt out with that. I started a service contracting business, which I was able to sell for a profit. And at the same exact time, I got into the SMP. So all of that has brought me to this very point right here that we're doing right
Wow.
now.
Let's
Yeah.
back up to the service kiosk because I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've gotten taken for the nail people that come up and they just started scrubbing my fingers.
Oh
They
yeah,
got it
yeah,
and they
yeah.
got it all shiny. I was like, fine,
Polished
I'll
it
get this shit.
without any nail polish. Yeah, I used
Yeah.
to sell those too.
So did you have one item you were selling or did you sell like whatever was hot at that time?
Yeah, no, I had these. So we got a contract from a manufacturer in Shanghai, and I was selling massagers. I was selling like TENS units, like the stuff that Bruce Lee used to use to rip his abs.
Oh shit, I
And
remember that.
and those actually help. I still have mine to this day, and I still use them when my back is killing me.
It's like shocking you too,
Yeah, it
right?
shocks you. Yeah, it
It's like,
shocks you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I used to sell those. I used to just, oh, you got back pain? Come here, get over here, have a seat, put it on, do a live demonstration, and that's it. It's a wrap.
That's a tough business, man. That is. So, were you the only? Did you have any other people working for you, like also doing sales?
No, I had a team of people. We all lived together too in a big townhouse out here. We all drove to work together. It was and they were all like, they were all Israelis. They were all from the Middle East. So it was a big culture shock to me, but it was very familiar, and I learned a ton. They taught me how to sell. They taught me how to manage money, how to multiply my money. To me, it was the most beneficial, job experience I've ever had in my whole life.
Wow. The sales is so important. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if you ever read the book by Grant Cardone, Sell or Be Sold, but
So yeah,
it's so good. I mean, and anything, even if you're just trying to convince your wife that you want to go somewhere, you want to go out to eat here. I mean, you got to sell
you
her
gotta
on.
sell it. You gotta sell it. Yeah, you gotta sell everything.
You can have
People
the
don't
best product in
understand
the
that
world,
concept.
but unless you can sell it.
It's true.
I like how you said they were the Israelis because it's so funny you say that because that was the people who got me on the nail thing. They were
Yeah,
Israeli, and I knew that because I went to high school with one of the
they
girls who
have the
did
strong. They have the. It's a mafia. They have the stronghold on all that.
it.
Nobody else.
So you really just every I guess couple months or seasons, you guys would just order new stuff, and then you'd learn the product, and then just sell it. Didn't matter.
It was basic. We stuck to the constants. So the massagers were a high selling point because they had such a high profit margin. There's actually 750% profit
Wow.
on those. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. And this was before Amazon. Think about it. You know what I mean? This was before Amazon. So
Like early
um,
2000s.
and no, not even. It was like early 2010s, like
Okay.
2010, 2011. It was right after I had graduated high school. This was my first like major job out of high school.
Okay.
And I made enough with it where I was able to become a shareholder. So
Wow.
but some days I'd work 16 hours and I had the energy for it. I was doing about 100 hours a week. And some days, 16 hours, nothing. But then the
Yeah.
next day in the morning in 1 hour, I make enough for a week. You know what I mean? So it
It's a
was it was
tough
a
business.
roller coaster for sure. Yeah.
Okay, and then you got in. I guess you built up your sales experience. You're like, I can sell whatever. And
Yeah.
how did you get into timeshare? Because we use time. Well, my uncle has timeshare, and I use it. I think it's a great deal. Some people absolutely, this, fucking hate it. They're like, why did
Oh yeah.
I sign up for this
Yeah.
thing that I barely use? I only got 3 weeks of vacation. I'm not going to use this.
Literally. Yeah. So my friend, my friend from high school, he became a GM for a property. I started off as a front desk agent, and then an opportunity presented itself to come back to Orlando on because all those, so basically every major hotel group in America, it's they sell franchises. So you could buy a Hilton Garden Inn, you could buy a Hampton Inn in Delaware, set it up, right? Set up a team. And yeah, it's franchise, but the actual corporate side of these hospitality businesses are the resorts. So I got a direct invitation to apply, and I picked it up right away through a sales comprehension test that I took and an FBI test about my personality. And that's it. They gave me the job right away. And I
Wow.
moved back to Orlando at that point.
And you can make a lot of money. For people who don't know, you can make a lot of money selling timeshare.
Oh, dude, it was pretty crazy. Back in like its glory days,
Yeah.
before all of these legal companies started popping up, because they caught wind of all of the they're called what's that called? Like shady business practices or shady ways of selling to people.
Uh-huh.
So once they caught on to that, these big class action lawsuits started to come about, and that's when timeshare started going down, and they had to restructure the model. I was selling with the original model, which it was insane. At the end of the day, timeshare is real estate. So a real estate agent, if they make 1% to 3%, it's incredible. With time sharing, it's 10%, 15%. You know what I mean? And you're selling units for the same price as a house or a condo. So yeah, it used to get pretty crazy, especially during
Which
the seasons.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you a question? You may or may not remember. What's like? What was your, I guess, number one selling package? Because this is my understanding. Let's say it's $65,000. You pay off that $65,000, I guess, condo for Windingham, and then you
Yeah.
get a certain number of days each year. And after it's paid off, you pay like maintenance fees or something. How does that work?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's basically like buying a property. When you're done paying it, you get a deed at the end. And then just like a property where you pay property taxes on the lot, your property taxes aren't taxes. They're classified as maintenance fees. The packages we used to sell were over 120K, where
Wow.
you would get access to different properties, and then that's when they started incorporating a point system, and then you could transfer to any property around the world. I was an exit program though. So if you didn't buy timeshare, you bought my package, which is
Uh,
like a sample. It was sort of like a sample that it would basically put you in a position to where, and it reminds me of this joke. I'll tell you the joke in a sec. But it puts you in a position where they show you the best of the absolute best of time sharing, which is the high end packages. You come and you take advantage of that for like a fraction of the price, and then when they lock you in, they kind of do the switcheroo on you. They give you like the lower tier, and they tell you, oh no, what we showed you was like the high end. You know what I mean? But they make it seem like you're gonna get that high end package like throughout. So
Bastard.
that wasn't me though. I just sold the package. After that, they deal with another salesperson. That was on them. My conscience is clear.
Good, good.
My
Yeah,
conscience is clear.
the old switcheroo. So
The
what
old
was the joke?
switcheroo. The joke is a guy dies, and he goes up to heaven, and then the angel goes, oh, you have a choice. You could, you were good enough or you were bad enough to where you can make a choice. So this is heaven. So he showed him heaven, and heaven looked all, boring, and nothing really going on. And then when he showed him hell was like super popping. There was like a big party going on. So he was like, yo, I want to go to hell. So he goes to hell, and when he goes the next day, hell looks just as bad as heaven, maybe even worse. He comes up to the devil. He's like, dude, what the heck? He's like, oh no, bro, we're showing you the premium package. You have to upgrade to that. So it's a stupid
Zinger!
time shit, joke. It's a stupid time shit, joke.
That's good though. I mean, that's true. I feel like I've gotten taken advantage of, but
We all
you
have.
gotta
I've
you gotta do what you
gotten
gotta
taken
do.
advantage of. Like, and I'm in the industry. It's like, these guys are good. They use so my thing with my sales training was it was so extensive. The main thing that they would put their money into was the programs and the courses to get us to sell at the highest level possible. So we used to fly in gurus. The guy who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, he came and he did 2 seminars with us, fully paid by
Robert
nobody
Kawasaki?
else. Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, yeah.
Did you get to meet him?
I got to meet him. I got to shake his hand. I
Wow.
got some pictures of him. Yeah, it was pretty sick. Pretty sick.
I
Yeah,
love Robert. I mean, he
yeah.
says a lot of crazy shit now,
He does.
apparently.
Yeah, he does. But yeah, they were using him for his financial literacy and his extensive
He knows his shit.
sales and marketing. Oh, incredible. Yeah.
So then you do the timeshare thing, you're making good money, and then you go
Yeah.
into what kind of services were you offering?
Yeah, I started off as a window cleaner. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, I started off as I
The
brought
big
window
change
cleaning
from
kit.
selling timeshare.
Yeah, because I was like, well, I could sell a service that everybody absolutely needs, like residential and commercial.
Okay.
And then I looked into the business model, and I saw that you could pick up like contracts, like steady contracts every single month, and just make an absolute killing. So my first big contract was Planet Fitness. I had every Planet Fitness from Daytona down to the most southern end of Central Florida, which is like Point Siena, all the way east, all the way west. So that was my contract, solely exclusive. Then I had Outback Steakhouse. I had a couple of plazas. I had a couple of dealerships. And then every time I'd go residential and I do residential services, I noticed that these homeowners were like, they had somebody for the pressure cleaning. They had somebody else doing this, doing that. I was like, if I create a network, I could subcontract all these things that the homeowner needs, and I can make a profit off of it. So I started it. I gathered a nice team together, and let's say, you know, a homeowner calls me and is like, "Oh, I need my house cleaned and I need my windows cleaned. How much you charge me for the house cleaning?" So I had a company already, and they had me at 10 to 12 cents per square foot. I come in, I tell the homeowner it's going to be 34 cents a square foot. I pay the cleaning company their 12 cents, and I keep the rest.
Nice.
So that's how I scaled that business. And I ended up just selling the contracts. That's it. I got a nice check for that from a bigger company in the area.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's when you kind of segued into SMP, where you kind of did you sell the contracts before you started SMP or after?
After, but I
Oh,
was learning SMP at the same time that I had opened that business. There you go. I love it. You look good, dude.
yeah, these are Sheen Kelly, $15, baby.
I
Let's
love it.
go.
I love it, bro. They look just as good as my $1,000 car.
So you're not because a lot of people are barbers, right? You know that there's a shit ton of
Yeah.
SMP barbers and all that sort of thing. And you went from sales, which I think is great. I mean, you can take that anywhere. That's very versatile.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Why did you get into SMP? Because to my knowledge, you have a lot of hair. Did you get a little bit of SMP?
I had a lot of hair. I had a lot
Okay.
of hair. I lost my hair, dude.
Okay.
This is all SMP, guy.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
here
Looks
to hit
good.
all this. Thank you, bro. Shout out to Taylor Perry.
Is he the one who did your SMP?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, did you get SMP and then train, or did you train and then get SMP?
No, so here's the backstory with me and Taylor. Taylor's been cutting my hair since I was 14. I was 14 years old. I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. He started cutting my hair. His barbershop was right down the street from my house or from my school. So I could basically walk there. And me and Taylor, I stayed loyal to Taylor for years, man. So when we came into the years of us starting our families and everything, we were very involved in each other's lives. And yeah, he went to my baby showers. I went to his, but it was just like, you know, barber client relationship. We were friends, obviously. But then, you know, I moved to Orlando, lost contact with him a little bit, but I always had him on social media. I always had him on Instagram. And bro, as soon as I saw him take off with this SMP, I was already like full entrepreneur mode. I was like, I'm trying to transition out of my corporate jobs, and I want to just full on just dedicate myself to my businesses. I started getting really, really burnt out with the cleaning service. It just wasn't for me. You know, I'm an office type of guy. You know what I mean? So, and then, bro, you know, the weather out here is killer, bro.
Yeah.
You're working windows in the winter, and you're like, oh man, I can do this all the time. And then July hits, and you walk outside, and it's like an oven. When you 400-degree oven, when you open that door and that gust hits you, that's how it is here in July on a normal day. So when those summer months started hitting, I was like, this is not sustainable. I'm not gonna have the passion or the drive to grow this past this point. And then simultaneously, I'm seeing Taylor just killing it with the SMP, and I was like, I literally just called him. I was in my car watching a video of his, and I called him up when he started offering the classes. Like as soon as he started offering them, I called him. I was like, bro, can I learn this if you teach me? He was like, bro, I'll teach you, and you're gonna learn this, and you're gonna fucking kill it. So that's it, bro.
And so that's how you kind of start. I didn't know all the background, so that's interesting. So you guys kind of knew each other. You moved. You kept in contact via social media. That's great. I love to hear that. And then you saw the classes were offered, and you were boom. I'm sold. I'm going to come down there, and I'm going to learn.
Dude, right away. When I saw SMP for the first time, and I saw the effect, and then at the same time too, I think, you know, I'm a very spiritual person, so I think it was just spiritual. I think God was just putting me in the right place where I needed to be, because my brother started losing his hair, and he's one of the cheapest people I've ever met in my whole life. And immediately he started taking pills and stuff that he had to pay monthly for. And I was like, wow, my brother is cheap, but he's willing to put money into this. And then that's when I really noticed like the psyche or the psychological effect that hair loss has on men. Because my dad's bald. My dad's been bald since I was born. And I just always used to see him not go to a certain place because he didn't have his hat washed or something, or he was very self-conscious about it. My dad's one of the strongest people I know. You know what I mean? He's an old school military guy. He did military here, even though he grew up in Colombia. When you talk to him, he's been through some stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I saw the effect it had on my brother. I saw the effect it had on my father. I still had my hair at the time, so I couldn't really, you know what I mean? But I was like, listen, it's inevitable. And let me just jump into this. I don't know. It was a mixture of a lot of things. But I loved it. I loved seeing it. I remember not feeling anything like the way I felt when I saw it. And I saw the effect that it had on people. Taylor did an amazing job at that too, always. He always had a beautiful exposition of his before and afters and everything. And that just gravitated me in, bro. At the time, I had just opened up. I just got my first American Express card. That bitch had a 35% APY. And It was the only way that I was going to get, buy this class. And I remember after that conversation I had with Taylor, I paid for my class with that card. And I was like,
you got to do what you got to do, man.
I'm like, bro, I'm going to make it happen. So, yeah.
So you take the class. That's very interesting, by the way. So you take the class, you go down there. You're still doing the service industry.
Yeah.
What do you do after that? Do you come back up to Orlando? Do you start doing it out of your house? Did you end up doing it on your dad?
Yo, my dad's one of my first people. I'll be honest, I got to laser it off, but it still looks pretty decent. It looks decent, but it doesn't look obviously like the work I put on now. So
obviously everybody in the beginning makes mistakes,
but he wears it with pride. I know that. I know he shows all his friends. I know he shows everybody that he comes across. He's like, this is what my son does, this and that. So because he wears with so much pride, I'm not like too worried about like fixing it right now. But yeah, my dad was definitely one of the first people. My brother ended up growing his hair back with the treatments that he took. And that gave me a lot of knowledge in terms of finasteride, minoxidil, and HIMS and all these other types of alternatives and what they could do to the body, the long-term effects, everything, which was dope, which was super cool. Very, very appropriate for the SMP and the business that I was starting with that. And yeah, man, that's how it all happened.
Okay. So you're doing it out of your house. When do you get your first location? You worked on your dad. I'm guessing some other friends, family. When do you end up getting your first spot?
Dude, I faked it till I made it. Listen to this one. So, remember, I had to pay this credit card back, like yesterday.
To avoid the interest.
To avoid the interest. So, I'm doing my research. I didn't want to do it in my house. I have 2 young daughters. My house is full of women. Wasn't comfortable. I tried to do the house calls. People were a little iffy. Most people said yes. Some people said no. Then I started doing some research, and I found out about this company called Regus, Regus. They rent day offices in beautiful buildings in downtown across the major cities in America. They had just opened up their location at the Regents building here in downtown Orlando, which is across the street from the Amway Arena where the Orlando Magic play.
Oh, wow.
And I set up a whole to-go system, like a travel system, tow, massage bed, everything. And I would close people at full price. And then I would rent the day office and do their SMP at the day office.
Wow. Where would you close them at? Over the phone or?
I started doing social media marketing immediately. I wasn't a barber. I ran through my free models, which were my families and friends, pretty quick. Yep. Had a very small network that were actually interested in. Taylor was already doing social media marketing. So as soon as he taught me the system, I picked up on it right away. I used the last bit of money that was on the card to do my first ad. And to this day, I'm 10 for 10 on those ads. To this day, I've never stopped marketing myself on social media.
Yeah. I mean, you got to.
Yeah, 100%. But that's how I started. It was all social media marketing.
And so you're renting this. So you're bringing. Did the people who you're renting from were like, "Oh, sir, this is more of like office space. Where's your laptop?" Did they give you a hard time?
No, no, no. I presented myself as an academy. I told them that the people that were coming in were going to learn from me. But I'm crafty, bro. I'm a salesman. So, I was buying the receptionist girl lunch every day. I was complimenting her. I was
That's what
making
you
sure
gotta
that
do.
bro, you got to do it. I was like, I don't want anybody, because you're not supposed to do anything cosmetic in these places. These are literally for somebody who's like maybe a software salesman and he's got a couple meetings in Orlando, but he lives in LA, like type stuff.
Uh,
So, you know, I had to play the part. I was like, these guys are gonna come in balling and they're gonna come out like looking like they got hairs. But thankfully back then the SMP wasn't known at all. So these people didn't know what I was doing, nothing. It was just one of those things where it just worked out. Just worked out. Yeah.
that's good. And so after that, when did you eventually get Orlando SMP?
So at the time, my barber that he was cutting my hair here. I told him about what I was doing. He was very, very interested. So I trained him. And I was like, I trained him for his Rolodex because he had a very extensive clientele base in Orlando. And I also trained him, so that we could partner up because I didn't have a lot of flexibility with taking on overhead. And I really didn't know where to start. I'll be honest with you. Like, me and Taylor, we learned everything pretty much together. We were brought up in the SMP game, just figuring everything out. So I found myself by myself in Orlando. And I had to team up with somebody in the beauty industry to be able to bridge that gap.
And that person being Taylor, or was it?
No, his name is Richard Boogie Ramirez.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he's out here in Orlando, and then that's when we started Orlando SMP.
Okay.
We started it in his barbershop, which he owned a barbershop. He still owns it. We started in there, and then quickly we figured out that the barbershop is not the place to do SMP. So we ended up picking up the unit next door, and we closed on it. And we started what you guys used to see with Orlando SMP.
Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood the first part. Okay, so
No, you're
then
good.
you're with this guy, Boogie. Now, does he still do SMP? Did you guys have a falling out? You still friends?
No, we're still friends. It was all amicable. He's just moving in a different direction. He started real estate. He's still very focused on his barbering. He never left the barbering. I was the one that put 100% into the SMP. He still was dabbling, but nonetheless, he was an integral part of the business, and he helped me grow it and scale it. But yeah, just last year we just started moving in a different direction, and that's when we transitioned over to the current situation.
Okay, and then how did that go? How did you broker that deal with Taylor? Did you approach him? Did you tell him your situation, or did he say, "Look, I'm trying to expand"?
It was a lead up. Taylor started doing really big things. He started it first with the CT Barber Expo, which he picked up the first SMP education contract with the CT Barber Expo, which I don't know if you've ever been, but it's the biggest barber expo in the United States.
No, but I was going to ask about that and how
Yeah.
that went.
Yeah, so he picked up that deal. He picked it up out of nowhere. And it was really, really big, really big thing. He ended up selling a 26 person class for the first time. That's how big it was. So he started reaching out, and I was one of the first people he reached out to come in as an instructor, as a guest instructor, and help. I had already started my academy, and he saw that our training program was amazing and that I was on the right path. So he brought me in as guest instructor. And from that point on, any major class that he did that was over a certain amount of people, I would always get the first phone call, almost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice, because good relationship. And I saw you went to Australia as well.
Yeah, we went to Australia last year.
How was that?
It was crazy, bro. It was Australia. To this day, I get goosebumps just thinking about Australia.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, sidetrack. Like, first of all, I only had 3 weeks to plan for that trip. It was out of
Okay.
nowhere. They had already booked Taylor for that.
Uh,
And Taylor basically was like, yo, Thomas has to come too. Um, you know, and the main thing with that show was, you know, establishing that personal relationship with FYT, because
mhm.
FYT is our needle manufacturer and distributor.
Shout out to
Um,
FYK.
Shout out to FYT, bro, for real. Shout out to all my guys in Toronto. You know who you are. And then one of the other main focuses of that trip was we were able to do a masterclass with Anna from Inked SMP. Shout out to Anna too. And that was incredible. That was super incredible because that was really the first masterclass that me and Taylor actually have done in person. And it's now setting the tone for how we want to structure our education moving forward.
And okay. Okay. So, and then let me ask you a little
Yeah.
sidebar on Australia. I mean, how long did you guys end up staying there?
We were there for a total of 12 days.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
12 days.
Yeah.
So
But you
it
remember, you
wasn't
have to
all
factor in 2 full
training.
days of. No. We did the Australian Tattoo Expo first. We were out there with FYT.
Mhm.
FYT split the booth with us. So we were able to do SMP at the booth. And that immediately, you know, I became an international tattoo artist right then and there. Taylor had already done SMP in China 2 months before that when
Mhm.
he went out to the manufacturers. So it was a little tour that we did with them, and I was, you know, it was a big blessing. I was able to jump on that Australia trip. But yeah, we did the Australian Tattoo Expo. Sold products. We basically were like marketing the hard line, which is their newest line of needles all around though, not just the SMP. You know, they have their other liners, their 5RLs, their 6.7s, their magnums, their curved magnums, just a hard line in general, that hard line collection.
Yep.
And then the last 2 days of the trip, we did the masterclass with Anna.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So now that all kind of makes sense. The timeline does. And I mean, it's a long
Yeah.
flight. How long does it take you to get there?
Dude, it was 30 hours.
God
It
damn.
was 30 hours, bro. But yo, listen, I was very impressed. We flew American, and dude, it's impressive. It's just like you think, oh man, I'm gonna be sitting there for hours. No, it's like they set you up to like basically just relax and sleep for most of the time. So even if it's like light outside, a lot of people don't know this, they will acclimate like the lights, and they'll put a tint on the window so that you can sleep during your normal sleep schedule, and then they acclimate you towards the Australian sleep schedule, which was dope because me personally, I really didn't suffer through the whole jet lag when I was out there. It was mostly when I got back.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because when you get there, you're probably just pumped up, right? I'm in Australia.
Oh, super pumped. I mean, I couldn't believe it. We flew in to Sydney. From Sydney, I had to go to Melbourne. I was in Melbourne by lunchtime, and I didn't know it looked like that. I thought I was going to see kangaroos and koalas everywhere, but it was a booming metropolis. It was incredible, beautiful, super clean. The people were beautiful, completely different than the people out here, like different bone structure and everything.
No
It
meth
was
addicts?
no meth addict, no tents, no tent city, none of that, bro. It was actually really cool, bro. And they have the best coffee I've ever had in my life, and that's coming from a Colombian.
Okay.
So shout out to Australian coffee. They know what they're doing out there with their coffee, dude. They take it very seriously. That was
What was
cool.
it like working with SMP Inked?
It was a dream.
Yeah.
It was a dream. That you know, it's. I'll be honest with you, Joey. The work ethic and the way me and Taylor work is I don't see it anywhere else here, right? When we went and saw and met up with Anna and worked with her, she's the real deal, 100%.
She's an excellent communicator. Very, very good
Definitely.
communicator.
She's just well rounded all the way through. She has her marketing on lock. She has her classes on lock. She has an incredible team. All of her artists are top tier. And she just has a great system going, man. And that's what we're trying to incorporate here, with Taylor Perry Studios.
Good. And so now you got and then eventually now you're the Taylor Perry Studios. Tell us how the deal like went down, and did you have to move and all that sort of thing?
Yeah. So we decided to go into business together.
Mm-hmm.
I came in, and the first thing on the list was new locations. I needed a new location. He needed a new location. Um, his location in Hollywood was absolutely spectacular, incredible. But putting two of the biggest names in the industry in the world in terms of SMP together, we really couldn't go into like an insanity mind state, which that has been my common theme throughout the year. If you want to change and if you want to get to the next level, you can't expect to do the same exact things and yield a different result. So we started from scratch, bro. We ended up brokering the leases for these locations while we were in Australia, which was a challenge. But as soon as we got back home, we both came home to brand new locations. I got a location here for us in the Mills 50 district, just outside of downtown Orlando, which is one of the hottest areas in the country for commerce. And we got the big boy, which is Brickell. And having a business in Brickell, it's just on its own, just that accolade is monumental. So we were
What
able
is
to get an
Brickell for
office in
people who are not from Florida? What is Brickell?
Brickell is the exact equivalent to New York City that we have on the East Coast, but it's just in the South.
Okay.
Yeah. The buildings, the commerce, the money, the tourism, everything. It's almost nearly the same, honestly.
And so did you have to cut your contract with your previous location, or was it over now that you're moving to this new one?
Yeah, it was all standard. I just, I terminated the lease on the location. I retired the EIN number. We dissolved the company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we dissolved the company. Everything.
So you did the full thing. You got rid of
the
the EIN number. That's big. That's a big deal.
everything, bro. Everything. I'm Taylor Perry 100% now.
Shout out Taylor Perry.
Shout out to Taylor Perry.
At 2 locations, man. I mean, he's one of the best marketers in the industry, hands down. You can't.
Yeah, hands down.
You can't argue that.
Hands down. I've definitely inherited an incredible system, and that's been my biggest takeaway of all this, for sure.
Hey, man, you built the relationship, and you put in the time, the energy, effort, and you earned your partnership.
Thank you, bro. I feel like I did too. I feel like I put in the footwork. Me and him were always like this, but he was always, just because of his marketing and his branding, he was always like this. But in terms of how much work we were putting out, in terms of our academies, in terms of the quality of work, the quality of the education, and just being so close in proximity of cities, having the same network of people, it was inevitable, to be honest. It was just inevitable. Yeah.
So is he considering it a franchise? What can you disclose in regards to how you guys are going to be operating going forward? Because it's only been, a month or two, I guess, since it's been official?
Yeah, a month. It's been 2 months now since it's been official. I can disclose that these are flagship locations. So these are the locations that are going to basically make the blueprint for any other stores that we're going to create or make, which is coming very soon. I can disclose that. And yeah, these are our main locations. This is my home location. Brickell is his home location, but for the past 2 months, we've been going back and forth. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Are you going down there with him and he comes up, I guess, for the training classes?
For training and for SMP, I did 3 procedures on Saturday. Then I came back down yesterday, did one here. We're going to Puerto Rico this weekend. So we're going to be traveling together and doing the shows and everything together. But yeah, these are going to be the home bases, the flagships.
Nice. And so you're going to Puerto Rico. How long of a drive is it from Orlando to Brickell?
It's 3 hours. but we have a new train system called the Bright Line here in Orlando or in Florida. It's a speed train, and it's very state of the art, very beautiful. And literally
It's made some headlines.
station. What's up?
Bright Line's made some headlines up here.
It's killed some people. It's killed some people for sure.
Hey, you gotta get where you gotta go.
But but bro, come on. If you look, people would try to jump train tracks here all the time.
I'm sure they're fucking idiots.
All the time, bro. Like, and they think it's the old, like the Amtrak's or the Sun or like the local trains. This is a fast train, bro. It doesn't stop. It goes straight. So if you try to run the tracks, you're gonna get hit. That's what's been happening.
How fast the Bright Line go from Orlando to there? And
2 hours and 45 minutes, man, straight. So I never have to factor in traffic. The station in Orlando is right next to my house. It's at the airport. I live right next to the airport. The station in downtown Miami is less than a mile away from the Brickell location. Bro, spiritual wise, like this all like has been happening like crazy. I have a direct line to Brickell now, and I have to drive. So on my way down, I'm editing videos, I'm responding to DMs, I'm chilling, I'm having a drink, I'm relaxing. I get to the office, I get to do SMP in the morning. I'm back home at night, tucking in the kids in Orlando.
I love that. And I know exactly how that is. That's like when I go up to New York, it takes me about 2 hours to get there by the train.
Exactly.
And
you guys are used to a very efficient form of public transportation. Here in Florida, we're not. This is a new concept to us. So I'm bugging out.
No, it's a big deal.
So happy.
And you don't have to drive. You don't have to worry about that.
It's the worst.
You're multitasking on the train. You're getting some shit done.
I'm networking too. I've already gotten 2 clients from the Bright Line, dude. So it's good. Yes, sir.
So what are you guys doing down in Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico. We're gonna be there in Carolina at the PMU boot camp. We're gonna be panelists. We're gonna be speakers. We're gonna be doing live demonstrations. We try to set up a class, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the tone and market something out there so that we can come back and do a class out there.
And you don't even need a passport, right, for Puerto Rico?
No, it's U.S. territory. You come in with your driver's license, no problem.
Okay, nice. And how many days you guys gonna be there?
We'll be there for 4 days, 3 nights.
4 days, 3 nights. Is any FYT stuff going on down there?
No, but we're always bringing the brand. We're always going to bring the brand with us. So we're definitely going to bring the needles, some marketing material, because everybody in there is going to, they're all PMU artists anyway. So the FYT needles can easily be used for the PMU stuff as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw either you or Taylor were posting, looking for, was it a videographer you guys were trying to get down there?
Yeah, we found one. We found one. Yeah, we found one. So we're good to go.
It's a big deal. I've been stressed out.
No, you have to. No, dude. It's like, it's one of those things that, it's not always, your local photographers or videographers aren't always have the availability to travel. So, trying to scramble and get a videographer, photographer, and in another area it seems like a daunting task, but we've made such a strong network and connection around the world, bro, that at this point, anywhere we shoot out a DM or like a promo or something, we're gonna get something from that. Which I was just talking to Taylor about it the other day. It's one of the biggest blessings right now that we've ever had through this business.
Nice. And are you going to be doing a lot of, teaching in Spanish as well?
So yeah, I'm gonna bring in this. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So I'm gonna be bringing in the bilingual aspect of it. So I like my marketing, the marketing material that we're filming now, and all of the projects that revolve around me are gonna be majority in Spanish. I'm definitely gonna bring in the Spanish and the Hispanic element into this because here in Florida, especially, our biggest market is our Spanish speaking clientele. So we're going to capitalize on both. Taylor's going to handle all of the English stuff. I'm going to handle all the Spanish stuff.
It makes sense. I wanted to circle back to the CT Barber Expo. So Taylor had mentioned this several years. I just wasn't able to make it up for a few reasons. but he says he did really well. The classes always he had good turnout. So are
Yeah.
you guys going up there this year? How's that working? When is it?
We're not going to go this year. With everything going on that we have going on, and there's other projects that have presented themselves. We took a step back this year. Our friend Sam Garcia, he took over the contract. And I did the Las Vegas Barber Expo with him last year.
Okay.
And it was incredible. Shout out to Sam Garcia. He's Santana and Co. Out of Dallas Fort Worth. So he's going to be doing that. We're more focused on expanding and building a solid core and background of the team before we continue taking on big projects like that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And
yeah,
let me go into some of the trainings because there are teaching big classes, right? So this is a question that I ask everybody, and you can give your honest opinion and what you thought and your experience. How do you feel about large classes, numerous people, let's say 10, 15, 20 people learning from a few instructors? Does this mean if I'm a person, I sign up for SMP class, does that mean day 1, day 2, day 3, I learn, day 4, I'm ready to start my own business? Or is this more like an introductory, learn about SMP, practice, train some more, take a master class with someone, maybe one-on-one or 2 people, and then start your business? How should people really approach that?
So it's an amazing question. So here's the thing. When it comes to, because SMP is so new, right? We all think that the standard 2-3 day one-time class is the blueprint, for the education. We don't think so. We don't think so at all. With everything that all of our experiences with previous classes, feedback from students, these basics classes, the first class that you take is a basics class. Okay, 100% basics. When we teach our students the basics, we discourage them from taking on big projects. We discourage them from taking on complicated projects because they're just learning the basics, right? We don't bait people into telling them, oh, take the basics class, boom, you can start your business right away. You're going to be a thriving SMP artist. We're very, very candid and straightforward. We tell everybody, and a big portion of the class is telling them about the marketing, the social media, due diligences, what they need to be practicing, what kind of clientele are they supposed to be taking on as a basic artist with basic knowledge. We are creating master courses, and myself, I took master courses. Taylor took master courses. It's not a one and done type deal. You have to take multiple classes. If you want to continue to level up, you have to take the classes to be able to get to that level, plain and simple. So when it comes to like a big class setting, if it's structured properly, if you have enough instructors per person. So Taylor and I, we like to do for every 6 students, 1 instructor, right? So, if it's 30 people, we divvy it up. We'll have 3, 4, 5 instructors in there just to make sure that everybody is on the same page, right? Are we going to continue doing super, super big classes like that? We're kind of shying away from it a little bit until we have a good structure, because we feel like it can work if the structure is there, right? So if you're organized on your material, you're doing every topic based on a time schedule, you have ample enough time for Q&A, all of those things put together make up for a class where it doesn't matter how many people are in it, right? But 100%, you have to take other classes, and we do discourage and we do tell our students not to take on big things and specialty projects like scar camouflage and things like that of that nature till they've gotten at least the basics down. And then always incorporating the online class first beforehand so that they're familiarized and they're not stuck trying to, absorb or digest all of this information that you get from our classes on the first and second day.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I agree with what you said. People, if you are listening and you just take an SMP class, don't think you're just going to, you're going to be flying around, making a shit ton of money and doing great SMP. It's a lot of practice. This is introductory, then take a master, work up to. I like how you're telling them don't take on the big projects, because like I took on a big project and
me too.
It's,
yeah. Yeah. I got stuck in my living room one day for 6 hours, bro. 6 hours. I'm fatigued. The guy's fatigued. And in my head, I'm like, no, the amount of money he paid me is not worth at all of the headache that this is giving me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it was an experience. We didn't know better. But now we do. And because of that, we don't want people making the same mistakes we did.
You live and learn, people. You live and learn. You make mistakes. Yeah. And the key is, if you make a mistake or you learn from a negative experience, you then apply that going forward to make your life better, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so no CT Expo. I mean, you guys got a shit ton of stuff going on.
We got
Where else you going this year? Any other big locations you're going to that you're planning that you're able to talk about?
We're definitely going to other continents, but those are coming up. Those are coming up. Okay. I don't like to, I don't like to crack my eggs before they hatch. So
no, that's fine.
As soon as we have all of the information and everything, but we will be going to different countries this year. We're going to be doing a lot of different cities around the States.
Well, if you come to Philly, you got to hit me up.
Oh, 100%, bro.
Or Jersey.
As soon you're picking me up from the airport. That's
Yeah, I'm really happy for you, Tom. Like I've watched you grow, and
thank you, bro.
Getting this partnership, expanding. I really think it's good for the industry. And Taylor Perry has obviously made a huge impact. You're on board. I mean, it's just the more people learn about scalp micropigmentation, the more money we all make. Everybody, all the artists listen.
Everybody benefits. Listen, we're not in competition with anybody. We wish everybody the best. Awareness is going to grow our businesses ultimately at the end of the day. And if we keep bashing each other online, guess what? The consumer is going to see that, and they're not going to want anything to do with any of this. You understand? So a little bit more discretion, a little bit more constructive criticism, but behind closed doors. You know what I mean? We should all
I agree.
We should all also work with each other to just make our educations better, the procedures better. When we went to Australia and we learned from Anna, we completely we didn't just take that at face value and just, oh, cool, they do it like that. No, we actually took techniques. We took a lot of the things that we learned out there, because it was a learning experience for us as well. And we're incorporating it into our business and the way we run things today. So we can all learn from each other, man, at the end of the day. I'm learning every day. I don't know everything. Taylor has the same exact mentality. You know what I mean? So
if you don't grow up, people, if you're not willing to learn, if you think you have all the answers, you're setting yourself up for failure. I mean, the only way to get to the next level is continue learning and growing. And why can't we all just get along?
Why can't we all just get along? Everybody who meets me knows how laid back and cool and chill we are, man. I mean, I invite you guys to, DM me, hit me up, whatever you guys need, please. I'm an open book. I'm here to help.
Anytime you're killing it and you're training a shit ton of people and you're making an impact the way Taylor Perry Studios is doing, there's going to be haters, right? You're going to get them, whether or not
it's inevitable.
They have valid reasons or they're just hating because they're jealous, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. If Thomas is telling you guys, if you got a problem with him or Taylor, just send him a DM and you guys can talk about it.
Behind closed doors, man. That's it.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised, man. We're very open to everything, and we're just trying to build relationship and connections. You cannot grow if you don't have that mindset at the end of the day. So we're here to grow.
Good. Let me ask you one more thing before we wrap this up. How do you feel about the future of SMP and the industry? Do you think we're getting too saturated? Do you think how do you think it's going?
I think it's going great,
10
man.
years.
I think it's going great. I think that we're here to stay. Don't worry about it. Don't sip the Kool-Aid. Don't listen into people's negativity. At the end of the day, there is millions of people everywhere that could benefit from this. There's a lot of industries that we can tie ourselves in with, including the transplant industries. This could become a permanent staple, for example, in the transplant industry. Like, we're trying to set up something to where if you're not getting SMP done first, you know what I mean? There's no reason why you should be getting a transplant type deal. We're trying to create synergy. We're trying to tie things together so that we have multiple funnels, multiple avenues for this to continue to grow. So there's a lot of work to be done. The future is super bright because there's people like me and Taylor that every single day of our lives, we're coming up with different ways to expand the business and to expand it for others as well. Because if we're just taking all the glory and we're just doing everything, it doesn't really show us as good educators or mentors or anything that we preach or market ourselves to be. So the future's bright, man. The future's super bright. SMP is going to blow up, and anybody that's in it now or anybody that wants to get into it, when it blows up and it becomes basically like a household name in terms of a viable solution for hair loss, you're going to be in the best position possible, and it's going to be a sustainable business as well.
Love it. Love it. Tom, how can people find you? What's your website and all that stuff? Instagram?
On Instagram, I am Taylor Perry _Orlando. And then if you want to look at my personal life, I have an open profile for my personal life. It's Bermudez Thomas, all together.
And website?
TaylorPerry.com.
Nice. And then is that how if someone wanted to order the specific Taylor Perry FYT needles, how would they do that?
TaylorPerry.com. We have the FYT, the entire FYT line. We have our aftercare line as well. Anything you guys need, FAQs, information on trainings, information on procedures, and also upcoming dates are all posted regularly on the website.
Great. Love to hear it. And we'll pop that all on the screen. Thanks for coming on, Tom.
Joe, you're the best, bro. Thank you.